excuse the mess in the background. I wanted to go ahead and make some videos for you guys because it's been a while. I noticed that I haven't been as consistent as I should be. I have been working on my own personal issues at this time, which I'll probably be making a video about soon. But as far as racism in America, you know I have to do it. I always have to post something about it. Yes, because we still are in a racist-ass nation. Even though a lot of us do want equality, we want things to get better, but that's just not the reality we live in. Some of us might live in that reality, but not all of us. And the people whose voices who live in this reality need to be heard. So I am here to speak on topics like white tears. Now, white tears is a concept that was created by people of color, not just black people, but people of color in general, who have experienced racism and discrimination in this country. Being as we are still at the early ages of fucking racism, because segregation was not that long ago, slavery was not that long ago, not how everyone has trying to portray it has been, we still go through a lot of racist shit. It is obvious whose life matters in this nation. White people just frankly don't experience the same things as black people or people of color. Let's just say black people, obviously we're the ones getting shot and, you know, being killed for no reason, for just our pure existence, as if our existence itself is a threat. Now, if you aren't experiencing something on that extreme, you are kind of, and you're not a person of color, you're white, basically, you are put in this category of white tears. When you start complaining that, oh, I get discriminated against too, this and that, it's not that we are putting you in this box where you don't have troubles in your own life, or that you don't feel discriminated against. That's not what anyone's saying at all. But for you to say me too is kind of a slap in the face to black people and people of color, saying, you know, your issues don't matter, when it's obviously bigger issues than yours. For a great example on a larger scale, we can all see in Saudi Arabia and shit like that, and the women over there, or just the culture over there, is we are, as a collective in America, way more privileged, way more better off than certain cultures. But for some reason, a lot of us are still in extreme denial of how black people are getting treated in this nation. The mere fact that we bring it back to slavery days, we were promised fucking 40 years and a fucking mule. And these motherfuckers can't even apologize for the shit they put us through and still put us through. So we're in this nation that fucking doesn't want to acknowledge that it enslaved black people, got us over here, and now they don't want to do anything to help us. Yeah, they have like government assistance and shit like that, but they give us the bottom of the fucking barrel to scrape, and then have the nerve to act like we're ungrateful. What the fuck? So that is a concept of white tears, and white privilege and all that goes under this category. White privilege is basically like, you'll get a person, a friend or ally, telling white friends, you know, this is what I deal with, this is what I go through. Obviously this is some black people are in denial as fuck too. They giving people in cars and shit. You need to stop that shit, for one. But yeah, you have a lot of black people in denial too, but you have the black friends who tell white allies, supposed allies, you know, this is what I go through, this is what I deal with. First thing the white ally says is, you know, oh, you know, I didn't choose to be white, or, you know, that, you know, I didn't do it, or this and that. You know, the white guilt starts rolling in, and it's our story being told is not for you to feel guilty or ashamed, or we're not saying hate your skin color. That's not it at all. We're just telling you, you know, like, this is how our experiences is as a black person in America is. And if you are a friend or ally and you really care for your friend, you would sit and listen and be open. Don't take it offensive. Not like because if you aren't racist, you just aren't racist. But when you start getting offended, and then you start looking guilty because you know you're doing some wrong shit. But yeah, if you really are genuinely, you know, okay, maybe I have some racist tendencies, or, you know, I've grown up in this kind of conditioning, become open, try to learn, try to grow and see the size of other people. Because honestly, contrary to popular belief, we don't just make things up and pull it out of our ass. The mere fact that we're getting shot down for no reason should be enough. But yeah, we're fighting in a struggle every day in our life. Me as a black woman in America, when I walk outside, I am black, a woman, then I'm human if someone's feeling generous. And that's just reality. And I'm here to tell it like this, point blank. If you're a white female, you're a woman, then you're human. But me, I got all 3 strikes against my ass. So you have to look at it that it's still rankings in this bitch because we aren't equal. We have to look at the reality that there's rankings. And unfortunately, as a black woman, I am at the bottom of the barrel, but black men have it really, really hard because they're the ones getting shot just for no reason. Now, so this again is concept of white tears. Your struggles don't compare or fail in comparison to mine. When you are not reminded about your skin color every fucking day, your heart, like if you were to get put in my shoes, you wouldn't last a day. You would be wanting to commit suicide in fucking 1 hour. So these are the concepts of white tears. And see, me being in the footprints of a black woman in America, for example, has taught me resilience. It's like the diamond being the coal being put under pressure to turn to a diamond. It has given me hard skin. It's hard. I'm still human. But because I have been conditioned this way to deal with this kind of shit on the norm every day, I have become resilient. I have become able to withstand a storm. But it's still hard because I'm human. But in reality, when this nation doesn't look at you as human, we are the worst for health issues, mental issues. But since people don't consider us humans still, we go untreated in these areas, traumas. We are not taken as serious. Sexual assault, mental health. People don't give a fuck. And in reality, people are in denial, like, oh, it's such an ugly wound to look at. Like, oh, this is how bad we treat black people, but we rather ignore it instead of actually solving the issue itself. But yeah, so when people boil it down to white tears, when you see them in the pictures drinking the cup in white tears, it's basically you fail in comparison to what we deal with, and that's just the reality we live in. And until we can acknowledge that we live in this reality, we will continue to face these issues, continue to have to deal with racism, to continue to have to dispute against one another. And it's not even these matter or these people trying to create safe spaces. It's because if the oppressor themselves do not want to change anything, who else is going to change it? If it benefits you, of course you don't want to change it. But then once someone makes a safe space, you have an issue. But yeah, like for me, I always say, don't protest my protest of peace with violence, because then it becomes a thing where you don't want change. You just want to keep the oppressed oppressed. Because if you really want to change, you'll be like the motherfuckers in the MLK march, working alongside of people, trying to learn, actually partaking, doing your part, actually trying to learn, actually trying to change your ways, and not out of guilt, out of pure wanting. Like, no one can make you want to change. Of course, if you benefit from this, you probably don't want to change. And even if you acknowledge that instead of pretending, that will save a lot of trouble on everybody's part. But yeah, if you don't fuck with a certain community, then don't fuck with them. But to try to lash out at them, whether it's women's rights, Black Lives Matter, it's like you're wasting so much energy. Whereas if you go through things okay, well, sorry, I gotta text you guys. If you go through things that supposedly traumas, things that white cis males face, white women face, if you guys were going through it as bad as you say, you would have safe spaces for these things. They don't have safe spaces. White Lives Matter, things like that, means that you don't go through as big as issues as we do. And that's just reality, because you wouldn't be trying to hop on board to someone else's train out of mere or anger or hatred. That's what KKK exists for and shit like that. But if you guys can be creating safe spaces as well for issues. White men suicide rates, white women, go through this and that, and these, if it was really a big issue, these spaces would be created. So you got to really look at the stats, look at the facts, and like really think before you just like jump into conclusion. A lot of times people just jump into it without looking at the facts or looking at how we're portrayed on TV. And unfortunately, people are still dumb and thinking television tells the truth, when it's called television tells lies to your vision. So it's just ridiculous, you guys. But yeah, that's my little idea and my experience in America and what white tears means to me. Obviously everyone has issues, but again, if you're not in comparison to what goes through my part, or black people or brown people, people of color, are women, then, like, you know, either be a change or a voice for these people who are oppressed, or sit down somewhere, because you're really holding up progress in our lives as a nation, and you need to be on the part of change, of light and what's right, because if you're not on the change of the right side now, later on you're gonna look back and be like, well, shit, you know, I was on the wrong fucking side. You know, you're gonna be feeling guilty and shit. But like, really, really choose wisely with this shit. Like, be on the side of change, be on the light, be on the right side, and go. But there's subcategories to this shit that has to be healed, worked on. Just like black communities, we have to heal within ourselves, because we have been torn apart from within each other. We have to love ourselves, uplift ourselves, protect our children, protect our women, and start really getting on this shit. Start really healing. But yeah, that's my little bit of input today, you guys. Please take care of yourself. Please speak your voice, because your voice matters. Your silence won't protect you. It's not to say that you have to be an activist with the shit as hard as I am, but please speak your voice. If you see an injustice, say something. If an injustice is done to you, you owe it to yourself to stand up for yourself. Do not let people walk all over you. Raise your head high. Enjoy your life here as an infinite being, and by all means, be dope, be unapologetically. Peace.